I'm Harrison Graham. We got some updates and news to dive into after Monday's practice at Halas Hall. A non-padded practice. It was kind of a lighter day after the day off on Sunday. Of course, the Hall of Fame game is this Thursday. We'll get to all these updates as we heard from Caleb Williams and Shane Waldron after practice as well. But it's game week, folks. We made it. I know it's just the preseason, but can I get a bear down in the comments right now? We should see hundreds of people spamming bear down in the comments because it's game week. Only two teams can say they have a game this week, the Bears and the Texans. So get the bear downs rolling down below. All right, we heard from Caleb Williams after practice today, and this is what he had to say in terms of where he feels after 8 training camp practices. Quote, "I think I'm on track to be ready, exactly where they want and need me to be." And, you know, I had a few takeaways from his press conference before we get to some other training camp news and updates from today. Number one, he's very hard on himself. Says he strives to be perfect, and when he misses a throw or, like he said, quote, messes up, he gets frustrated, and he's very hard on himself because he strives for perfection. He has not been told if he'll play against Houston in the Hall of Fame game. He said he would like to play against Houston in the Hall of Fame game. Matt Eberflus, of course, announcing that decision will be made or announced tomorrow. Caleb talked about building his relationship with Shane Waldron, how they've obviously known each other for a few months now, and how that's been slowly developing. And I wanted to get to a quote for this last one, what he needs to work on most. I think Herb Howard asked him the question, and Caleb himself said, really good question. What do you need to work on most? And he said, I would say right now working on my blitz looks and coverage looks, feeling the umbrella of the defense looks, feeling that out and adjusting protections, flipping to run, getting to a kick game, cover zero check, however it works out. A lot of that comes with seeing it in reps. And a lot of this is like football nerd jargon, right? And basically what he's saying is he needs to continue to get reps of identifying what the defense is doing pre-snap. Like, is it a man look? Is it a zone look? Is the box stacked? If so, shift to a quick pass. Is it a lighter box? Check to a run play, all that stuff that quarterbacks have to do in the NFL. And you could tell the guy is smart, right? Like, you listen to him talk, and it's like he understands what comes with playing the position of quarterback in the NFL, but he's also honest enough to say, yeah, like, I still have a ways to go in that regard. And that is to be expected. Like, he's coming from college football in which, yeah, he made some checks and did things at the line, but, like, they didn't even huddle up at USC. Most of these colleges don't anymore. So, like, there's a lot more language and terminology that he has to learn and communicate to his teammates in the NFL. And the Bears feel like he's in a good spot. Shane Waldron likes where he is and has progressed up to this point in time. But it is a process, and it's not even the month of August yet. So, again, that's why, as I ask you this question, I would like to see Caleb Williams play in the Hall of Fame game is because you know, just getting those reps of breaking the huddle and making a couple of checks to the line, I think is valuable. Do you think he should play on Thursday? I do, even if it's just for one drive. Type Y for yes, you do. Type N for no, you don't. We'll see if he does. Pin comment on today's show. Let me know what you guys think. All right, let's get to some other training camp news and updates. Nate Davis put on notice. Now, this actually stemmed from Saturday, but he didn't practice again today, so wanted to mention it here as he's been dealing with a groin injury, which it's kind of like, I get it, guys get hurt, but like, of course Nate Davis is one of the first notable guys to get injured in training camp. It's kind of like, yeah, it's typical. Here's what Matt Eberflus had to say about Nate Davis. He was on Saturday, and I thought this was pretty strong. He said, availability is everything in this league. You've got to be able to practice. That's all part of preparing for the first part of the season. Being able to do that to callous yourself, that's your football or individual responsibility to the football team, and when you're not out there, guess what? That doesn't happen. I'll translate this for you in terms of how I heard it. The Bears are kind of getting sick of Nate Davis being unreliable. I think last year it was a lot more understandable with the family situation, the terminal illness, eventually the death in his family. Like, that's serious life stuff. You know, and I said it coming into this year, like, hey, last year's a wash for me. I'm cool with all that. That family stuff, like, you don't know how people are going to react when that happens. No big deal. But this year, what does he do? He skips most of OTAs. He's at minicamp, but only does a couple of team drills. Like, it's just like it's hard to defend him at this point in time, because when he has played, he hasn't played that well, and he's missed time with injuries, and there's a real sentiment of, does this guy care about football or not? And if he doesn't, that's okay, but if you don't, you should retire. That's kind of how I feel. Like, this sport is too hard and too grueling. If you don't care, like, this can't be a just cash a paycheck job. It just doesn't work that way. And so this is what we've seen with the Bears offensive line over the past few days. Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, Coleman Shelton, Ryan Bates, Darnell Wright, left to right. By the way, side note, Darnell Wright reportedly struggling to block Montez Sweat in practice, which, good for Sweat, not great for Wright, but that's neither here nor there. This might be your week one group. I've kind of thought this for a while, like, Nate Davis at this point, you just can't trust him. Ryan Bates has played more guard than center. Maybe he plays guard and Shelton's your starting center. I don't know. Davis is a talented player, but like Flu said, you got to be available. You got to be reliable. And up to this point in time, regardless of the reason, Nate Davis has not been that since signing a 3-year deal here. Now, Shane Waldron was asked today, is Nate Davis the starter when healthy? He said he is. He was asked if there's a competition at right guard, and he says Nate Davis is the starter when healthy. And then Cronin added the note with Bates being there at the last 2 practices in place of Davis. And it's like, they can say that now. If they like how Bates looks at right guard with Shelton at center, I'm not sure you just give the job back to Nate Davis. I'm not saying he can't earn it back. I'm not saying he's not your best option there, but it's at some point it's just like, don't you just go with what you know, like with what's reliable? It just feels like the Nate Davis experiment, it's not over, but the clock is ticking there, because I think listen to the way Flus answered that question too. Go back to Saturday's presser and go listen to it. I heard some agitation in that answer from Matt Eberflus. Crystal ball time. Will Nate Davis start week 1? S for start, W for won't. I think it could go either way. Honestly, if I was a betting man, I'd say he won't. Because A, I don't know if he's going to be healthy, and B, Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton might just be your right guard center combination at this time. So S for start, W for won't. Curious what you guys think. Today's show is sponsored by Rocket Money, a personal finance app that will find and cancel any unwanted subscriptions that you may have. And listen, people don't know this, but most people are spending like $300 per month on subscriptions. I mean, think about it. With how much prices have increased on these streaming services and other things out there, and you think 50, 60, 80 bucks a month, no big deal. Open the Rocket Money app after you download it at rocketmoney.com/Bears. Now, you're going to see how much you are spending. And hey, if you want to cancel those subscriptions, the beauty of Rocket Money is they'll kind of work as a middleman. You just click cancel, follow a couple steps. They will take care of the rest. You don't have to deal with the back and forth customer service where, DoorDash or whoever is trying to pitch you on why they should stay as a subscription for you. It's done. We're on it, like it said in that little video on your screen. You can set budgets with Rocket Money. You can even negotiate to lower certain bills for yourself. If you want to try and switch providers for your electric energy bill or your cell phone provider, whatever the case may be, Rocket Money is going to put you in the right direction. You can save over $700 per year if you're maximizing the potential of the Rocket Money app. Go to rocketmoney.com/Bears now. That link is the place to go to download the app today. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/Bears now. All right, let's get to some other Bears injury notes beyond Nate Davis here. A few guys not practicing, a couple noteworthy ones, I would say. Kyler Gordon, nickel corner, strained something, or had some sort of tightness, which is the word Flus used the other day. He still wasn't out there today. Travis Homer, Ian Wheeler, not practicing. They reportedly got banged up on Monday. We'll circle back to them in a second. Simba Webster has been out most of training camp, and then Jacob Martin tweaked something, I think his foot, the other day at practice. He didn't practice again today either. And with Homer and Wheeler out, that led to the Bears signing Demetric Felton, which I broke down in further detail on a video here on the channel. So if you want to subscribe, go to the video content tab. You can click on this video and where I discuss what Felton brings to the table. His skill set overlaps with Wheeler and Homer, so depending on how long they're out, Felton could be a threat at the running back position for this team. All right, next training camp news item. Caleb in the offense bounced back today. We already heard from Caleb Williams, but how did it look on the field? Again, non-padded practice, so, certainly different, but much better in team drills today. Saturday's practice was tough, just could not get into a rhythm, and a lot of that was offensive line related. We'll talk about them in a minute, but threw a couple of touchdowns in 11-on-11s today, one to Keenan Allen, the other to Rome Odunze, which apparently was the play of the day. Sean Hammond having the note here, some highly impressive touch in a red zone session Monday at Halas Hall from Caleb Williams. During 11-on-11s, he lofted 2 touchdown passes over the outstretched arms of defenders, connecting with Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze. Again, no pads, but nice to see, right? Saturday wasn't a great practice. Neither was Friday, to be frank. Off day yesterday, then boom. Get back out there today. Put together a nice practice. I would guess pads go back on tomorrow. Let's see if they can have a high-level execution practice when the pads are on. That would be very, very important. And if they do, that probably means the offensive line played better. Luckily today, it was a clean operation for the offensive line per Shane Waldron. Zach Pearson also having this note saying that I did not see a false start today, but there was delay of game. So one penalty pre-snap there, delay of game, but no false starts, which has been a major problem the last few training camp practices. So good to see that eliminated today. Waldron doubled down on that, calling it a clean practice overall from the offense. So it just felt more sharp, more crisp, whatever term you want to shoot. And again, just keep taking those steps, right? Waldron talked last week about, keep making incremental steps. And if you do that, by the end of this camp, you will be a much better player, a much better football team. So I think today was a positive sign for the offense to, regroup a little bit and put forth a good effort. They did lose the 2-minute drill situation, but overall it was a pretty good day. And then again, back to the Waldron-Caleb stuff. Waldron embracing Caleb Williams' talents, and I think this is very important. He was asked about his ability to throw on the move, and he said it's something he's been able to do at such a high level for so many years. We don't want to hold back on that ability he has. This was talking about him, outside of structure, throwing on the run, and I think this is critical because you don't want to overcoach him, right? Like, yes, he needs to work on footwork and under center and how to operate as an NFL quarterback and being able to deliver in the quick game and in the pocket and all that stuff, but embrace his strengths, embrace his creativity, encourage him, hey, when shit breaks down, go do what you do. Like, remember Justin Fields last year, early in the year, said he felt robotic playing the position? Disaster. Like, I knew when that happened, I was like, oh, God, this is actually really bad. Like, I feel robotic. You can't feel robotic as a quarterback. You have to let your instincts take over. Now, again, you got to balance when to take risks and, to do some of the YOLO stuff that Caleb Williams can't do, but you can't eliminate that from his game. Like, you just have to embrace him for who he is and obviously help him improve in kind of the structural areas of the position as well. Do you trust Shane Waldron to help him do those things, to develop him properly? Type T for trust or D for don't. Trust him more than Luke Getsy, I'll say that. Beyond that, it's kind of, just a bit of blind faith, right? We gotta wait and see and hope it turns into fruition because I think the potential here is absolutely massive. All right, guys, appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's Bears training camp news and updates video. We'll be back with more content. If you're watching live, we'll keep the ball rolling here. Hit that subscribe button for more Chicago Bears videos.